In the quiet corners of Japan, there exists a timeless secret, a philosophy that has guided generations to live longer, healthier, and more fulfilling lives. This secret is known as Ikigai. The word itself is beautiful, carrying layers of meaning. Iki means life and gai means worth. Put together, Ikigai translates into a reason for being, the very purpose that gives your life direction and joy. Imagine waking up every single day with a clear sense of why you are alive, with energy, with passion, and with a deep knowing that your existence matters. That's what Ikigai represents. It's not about money, fame, or material success, though those may come along the way. Ikigai is about finding that unique balance where what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be rewarded for all come together in harmony. This isn't just a theory. It's something that real people in Japan, particularly in a place called Okinawa, practice every day. Okinawa is famous for being home to some of the world's longest living people. Men and women in their 90s, even in their hundreds, not only live but thrive. They garden, they laugh with friends, they wake up early with a sense of purpose, and they continue contributing to their families and communities. Their secret? They have found their Ikigai. Let's imagine a man named Jiro, a fisherman from Okinawa. Jiro wakes before sunrise, his hands roughened by years of casting nets, yet his heart is light. Every day he heads to the sea not just to catch fish, but because fishing connects him to his father and grandfather, who were also fishermen. The ocean is his home, the rhythm of the waves his lifelong companion. Jiro doesn't see fishing as just a job. It's his Ikigai, the thing that makes his life worth living. Even at 85, Jiro continues to fish, share his catch with neighbors, and tell stories to his grandchildren. He is alive not only in body but in spirit. This is what Ikigai can do. It fuels us with vitality, giving meaning even to the simplest acts of living. In today's world, many people feel lost. They wake up tired, drag themselves to jobs they don't enjoy, and count down the hours until the weekend. They look for happiness in external things, new gadgets, clothes, vacations, but the emptiness remains. That's because they haven't found their Ikigai. Without purpose, life feels like a burden, but with purpose, even hardships turn into opportunities for growth. The Japanese believe that everyone has an Ikigai, a unique path designed just for them. The challenge is not whether it exists, but whether you are willing to search for it. The search isn't always easy, but it is always worth it. To understand Ikigai deeply, think of it as 4 circles overlapping in a Venn diagram. The first circle is what you love. This is your passion, the things that light you up inside. The second circle is what you are good at. These are your strengths, your skills, the talents you've developed over time. The third circle is what the world needs. These are the contributions that add value to the lives of others. And the fourth circle is what you can be paid for. When all 4 circles overlap, the magic happens. That's your Ikigai. Let's break it down with a story. Imagine a young woman named Aiko. Ever since she was a child, Aiko loved painting. She could spend hours with her brushes, colors flowing from her imagination. That's what she loved. Over time, she became skilled, her hands steady, her eyes sharp. That's what she was good at. Her paintings weren't just beautiful. They carried messages of peace, hope, and joy, touching the hearts of everyone who saw them. That's what the world needed. Eventually, people began to buy her art, inviting her to exhibitions, paying her to create. That's what she could be paid for. All 4 circles aligned. Aiko had discovered her Ikigai. She didn't need to be famous worldwide. Her joy came from living her Ikigai every day. Now you might wonder, how do we find our own Ikigai? The journey begins with questions. What do you love doing so much that you lose track of time? What activities make you feel alive, excited, and deeply satisfied? Think back to your childhood, when society hadn't yet told you what was practical or realistic. What did you naturally enjoy? Often our childhood passions hold the key to our Ikigai. Next, ask yourself, what are you good at? Maybe you're a great communicator, someone who can motivate others. Maybe you have a gift for numbers, problem solving, or music. Every person has strengths, but we often overlook them because they come naturally to us. Pay attention to what others compliment you for, because sometimes people around us see our strengths more clearly than we do. Then, reflect on what the world needs. This doesn't mean you need to solve global problems like climate change or poverty single-handedly. Contribution is essential to Ikigai because true purpose always connects to others. Finally, ask yourself, what can you be paid for? While money is not the core of Ikigai, It plays a role in making it sustainable. If you can turn your passion into something that supports you financially, you create balance. When all four elements come together, your life aligns with your Ikigai. Scientists who studied Okinawa's centenarians discovered something fascinating. It wasn't just their diet of vegetables, fish, and green tea that kept them healthy. It wasn't just their daily walks or their strong community bonds, it was their Ikigai. They all had something to live for. One woman in her late 90s said her Ikigai was her great-granddaughter. Every day she wanted to live long enough to see the child grow up, to guide her, to pass on wisdom. That purpose gave her strength. Another man said his Ikigai was tending to his garden. Rain or shine, he would work in the soil, planting, watering, nurturing. His plants gave him joy, and in return they gave him food and life. Ikigai doesn't have to be something grand. It can be as simple as cooking for your family, writing stories, caring for animals, or practicing kindness. What matters is that it gives you joy and meaning. In our modern, fast-paced lives, we often confuse busyness with purpose. We run from one task to another, chasing deadlines, notifications, and achievements. But when we pause and ask, why am I doing this? What truly matters to me? We begin to step closer to our Ikigai. The path is not about perfection, but about direction. You don't need to figure it all out at once. You only need to take one step at a time. Over time, those steps will lead you to your true calling. Imagine your life 10 years from now. Do you want to look back and feel you just survived, or do you want to look back and know you lived fully, with joy and purpose? That's the choice Ikigai offers. The search for Ikigai is not only about asking questions, but also about living the answers through small, intentional choices each day. The Japanese have a beautiful concept called Kaizen, which means continuous improvement. Rather than trying to overhaul your life overnight, you make small adjustments, step by step, creating lasting change. Ikigai and Kaizen go hand in hand. Imagine a man named Haruto. For years he worked in a large company, earning a stable income but feeling drained and uninspired. Each morning he dreaded the commute, the endless meetings, and the meaningless tasks. One evening he sat down and asked himself, what do I love? What am I good at? What does the world need? What can I be paid for? Slowly, patterns emerged. He realized he loved cooking. He had always been good at experimenting with flavors, creating dishes that delighted friends and family. He also noticed that his community lacked healthy, affordable food options. If he started a small eatery, he could both serve others and make a living. Haruto didn't quit his job immediately. Instead, he began cooking part-time on weekends, delivering meals to neighbors. Each week, he refined his recipes, learned more about nutrition, and listened to customer feedback. This was his Kaizen. Slowly but surely, his small weekend project grew. Within 2 years, Haruto opened a small restaurant serving wholesome meals. His Ikigai had finally taken shape. The transformation wasn't sudden or dramatic. It was the result of small, consistent steps. This is the essence of living your Ikigai. Another principle deeply connected to Ikigai is flow. Flow is a state of complete immersion in what you are doing. Time disappears, distractions fade, and you feel deeply alive. Athletes call it being in the zone. Artists call it inspiration. Scientists call it deep focus. Whatever the name, flow is an indicator that you are close to your Ikigai. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi studied this phenomenon and found that people are happiest when they are in flow. Think of a musician lost in her performance, a writer completely absorbed in his story, or a craftsman carving wood with precision. These moments of flow point directly toward purpose. If you want to find your Ikigai, pay attention to when you experience flow. What tasks absorb you so much that hours feel like minutes? These moments reveal what your soul craves. The Okinawan centenarians live in flow naturally. Whether it's gardening, fishing, singing, or cooking, they engage fully in what they do, without rushing or multitasking. Their secret isn't just what they do, but how they do it, with mindfulness, attention, and love. Ikigai also connects deeply with community. In Okinawa, there is a tradition called moai, which means meeting for a common purpose. Moais are small groups of friends who support each other for life. They share joys, divide burdens, and celebrate together. Imagine having a circle of people who cheer for your dreams, remind you of your strengths, and hold you accountable to your values. That's the power of community in sustaining Ikigai. A life of purpose doesn't happen in isolation. We are social beings, and our purpose often flourishes when shared with others. You may find your Ikigai in teaching, healing, inspiring, or simply being present for those around you. No matter how individual your passion may seem, it almost always touches lives beyond your own. Let's take the example of Yumi, a retired teacher in her 70s. After leaving her job, she could have chosen to rest and stay idle. But Yumi believed her Ikigai was guiding young minds. Even after retirement, she volunteered at local schools, reading stories to children and helping with homework. She didn't earn money, but her sense of fulfillment was priceless. The children adored her, and parents appreciated her guidance. Yumi's Ikigai didn't end with her career. It transformed into a lifelong gift she continued to share. This brings us to another truth. Ikigai is not fixed. It can change as you grow, as your circumstances shift, and as you discover new dimensions of yourself. What served as your Ikigai in your 20s may not be the same in your 40s or 60s. That's not failure. It's evolution. Life is dynamic, and so is purpose. The key is to remain open, curious, and willing to adjust. One way to nurture Ikigai is by embracing simplicity. The modern world teaches us to chase more possessions, more recognition, more wealth. But Ikigai thrives in simplicity. Okinawan elders live in modest homes, eat simple meals, and wear plain clothes. Their joy comes not from excess, but from meaning. Think of your own life. Are there things you hold on to that don't serve you anymore? Clutter in your home, toxic relationships, unnecessary obligations? Letting go creates space for Ikigai to bloom. Simplicity is not about having less, but about making room for what truly matters. Diet and lifestyle also play an important role in sustaining Ikigai. Okinawans follow the principle of harahachi-bu, which means eating until you are 80% full. This practice prevents overeating, keeps the body light, and extends life. Their meals are rich in vegetables, fish, soy, and green tea, all of which promote health. But beyond the food, it's the ritual of eating together that nourishes them. Meals are social, joyful, and unhurried. They aren't just feeding the body, they're feeding the soul. Science confirms what Okinawans have known for centuries. Purpose, community, and healthy habits lead to longevity. People with a clear sense of purpose are less likely to suffer from stress, depression, and chronic illness. Their bodies respond better to challenges, and their minds remain sharper with age. The power of Ikigai lies not in a grand revelation, but in daily practice. It's about aligning your small choices with your deeper purpose. Waking up a little earlier to write, spending time with loved ones instead of scrolling aimlessly, choosing work that fulfills rather than drains. Each choice builds a life worth living. The beauty of Ikigai is that it belongs to everyone. You don't need to be Japanese, live in Okinawa, or have extraordinary talents. You only need to be willing to look within and listen to the quiet voice that whispers your truth. That voice is always there, waiting patiently for you to pay attention. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path leads to comfort and familiarity, where you continue living as you always have, surviving but not thriving. The other path leads to curiosity and courage, where you explore your passions, embrace your strengths, and step into the unknown. Ikigai lies on the second path. It asks you to trust yourself, to experiment, to fail, to learn, and to grow. And in return, it offers a life of fulfillment. So take a moment right now, close your eyes, breathe deeply. Ask yourself, what makes me come alive? What small step can I take today to live closer to my Ikigai? The answer doesn't need to be perfect, it only needs to be honest. Because once you begin, the journey itself becomes the reward. The journey toward Ikigai is not a destination to be reached, but a path to be walked daily. Each morning when the sun rises over Okinawa, elders wake up with gentle smiles. Not because they have luxurious lives, but because they know why they are alive. That simple knowledge transforms everything. One of the core lessons of Ikigai is resilience, the ability to bend without breaking, to adapt without losing yourself. Life, after all, is not without struggles. Illness, failure, loss, and disappointment touch every life. What sets apart those who thrive is not the absence of pain, but the presence of purpose. Imagine an elderly man named Daiichi. In his youth, he faced poverty. Work was hard, money was scarce, and he often wondered how his family would survive. But Daiichi had a passion for music. He played the shamisen, a traditional Japanese instrument, with extraordinary devotion. Even when times were difficult, he turned to his music for comfort and strength. Decades passed, and Daiichi became well known in his community, not because he earned wealth, but because his music healed hearts. When his wife passed away, when illness visited him, when the storms of life struck, Daiichi returned to his shamisen. His Ikigai anchored him through every challenge. This is the quiet power of Ikigai. It does not erase suffering, but it gives suffering meaning. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, once wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." This truth echoes in Ikigai. When you know your why, no obstacle is insurmountable. Another important principle is harmony with nature. Okinawans live close to the earth. They plant vegetables, walk outdoors, and honor the cycles of the seasons. Modern science now confirms what they have always known. Spending time in nature reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, boosts immunity, and enhances happiness. But beyond health benefits, connecting with nature reminds us of simplicity and impermanence. Blossoms fall, seasons change, life flows. Ikigai is found not in resisting these truths, but in embracing them. There's a Japanese concept called wabi-sabi, which means finding beauty in imperfection. A cracked bowl carefully mended becomes more precious than before. Wrinkles on an elder's face tell a story of wisdom. Imperfection is not failure, it's the poetry of life. When you embrace wabi-sabi, you stop chasing perfection and begin to live with acceptance. Ikigai thrives in this acceptance. Perfection isn't required for purpose, presence is. To deepen our understanding, let's reflect on the differences between pleasure and purpose. Pleasure is fleeting, like the sweetness of candy. Purpose is lasting, like the nourishment of a wholesome meal. Chasing pleasure alone leaves us empty. But when we align with purpose, joy follows naturally. Modern society often confuses these two, urging us to seek constant entertainment, consumption, and distraction. But Ikigai whispers a different message. True joy is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. A practical way to move toward Ikigai is to create rituals. Rituals are repeated actions filled with meaning. For Okinawans, morning tea is a ritual. Gardening is a ritual. Evening walks with friends are rituals. These aren't chores, but sacred moments that anchor them in gratitude. In your own life, you might create rituals of journaling, meditation, exercise, or cooking with mindfulness. Over time, these small acts become pillars of your Ikigai. Consider also the role of curiosity. Children are naturally curious, asking endless questions and exploring without fear. As adults, we often lose this spark, replaced by routine and caution. But Ikigai flourishes in curiosity. Trying new things, learning new skills, meeting new people, all these expand your sense of purpose. Never stop being a student of life. The more you learn, the more possibilities for Ikigai unfold. One inspiring story comes from a woman named Sachiko, who began painting in her 70s. She had never considered herself an artist, but one day she picked up a brush and began to experiment. Her paintings weren't perfect, but they brought her immense joy. Soon her neighbors encouraged her and she started gifting her artwork to friends. By the time she turned 90, Sachiko had painted hundreds of pieces. She said, "I don't paint because I want to be famous, I paint because it makes my heart sing." That was her Ikigai discovered late in life. It proves that it is never too late to find your reason for being. Another cornerstone of Ikigai is service. Living only for oneself feels hollow. True fulfillment comes when your purpose contributes to the well-being of others. This doesn't require grand gestures. Smiling at a stranger, listening to a friend, or mentoring someone younger can all be acts of service. Each ripple of kindness expands outward, creating meaning not just for you but for those around you. In Japan, there is a phrase, "itadakimasu," said before meals. It means "I humbly receive," a reminder of gratitude for the hands that grew, prepared, and served the food. Gratitude is inseparable from Ikigai. When you are grateful, even ordinary moments shine with significance. Gratitude turns scarcity into sufficiency and challenges into lessons. Every evening, Okinawan elders express gratitude for another day of life, no matter how simple. This mindset keeps their hearts light and their spirits young. Now let's reflect on the rhythm of life. Modern culture glorifies speed, multitasking, and endless hustle, but Ikigai invites us to slow down. To savor each sip of tea, to walk without rushing, to speak with presence, to listen with full attention. When you slow down, you begin to notice the texture of life, the colors of the sky, the laughter of children, the warmth of a smile. These small joys woven together form the fabric of a meaningful life. Scientists call this mindfulness, but in Okinawa it is simply living. To live with Ikigai is to live fully awake. Imagine waking tomorrow not with dread but with anticipation. Imagine each day carrying a thread of meaning that ties together your actions, relationships, and dreams. This is not fantasy, it is the reality of those who embrace Ikigai. And it can be your reality too. The search begins within. Your Ikigai is not hidden in distant lands or locked in rare treasures. It rests in your heart waiting for you to listen. The moment you align with it, life shifts. Work becomes play, struggles become lessons, and aging becomes graceful. The beauty of Ikigai is that it is both deeply personal and universally human. It is your story and our story, a thread that connects us all. As you continue this journey, remember, Ikigai is not about finding the perfect life, it is about creating a life that feels alive. The beauty of Ikigai lies in its timeless wisdom and practical simplicity. It does not demand that you abandon your life and move to a distant village. It asks instead that you begin where you are with what you have and who you are right now. Your Ikigai is already within you. It only needs to be uncovered and nurtured. One way to nurture it is by aligning your mornings with purpose. The first hour after waking sets the tone for the entire day. In Okinawa, elders often start their mornings with movement, stretching, walking, or working in the garden. They drink tea, share breakfast, and talk with loved ones. These rituals, though small, carry profound meaning. They remind us that purpose is not found in occasional grand gestures, but in the way we live our ordinary moments. Imagine beginning your own mornings not with stress, noise, or screens, but with silence, gratitude, and intention. Even a few minutes of reflection, writing, or meditation can ground you in your Ikigai. When the mind is calm, the heart speaks clearly. Another powerful lesson is balance. Ikigai is not about working endlessly or sacrificing everything for one pursuit. It is about balance between work and rest, giving and receiving, effort and ease. Think of a musician tuning her instrument. Too loose, and the strings make no sound. Too tight, and they may snap. The right tension creates harmony. In the same way, your life finds harmony when you live in balance. Stress is not always harmful. In small amounts, it challenges us, sharpens us, and helps us grow. But when stress becomes constant, it destroys joy and health. Ikigai teaches us to engage fully without losing peace. Work with dedication, but rest with equal dedication. Strive, but also savor. Another insight comes from embracing lifelong growth. In Okinawa, people do not retire in the way Western cultures often do. They continue their work, passions, and contributions for as long as they can. Retirement, in their view, is not the end of purpose, but a transition into a new phase of it. A craftsman may teach apprentices, a farmer may mentor younger growers, a grandmother may guide children. Purpose is not tied to age, it evolves with age. This is why Okinawans remain vibrant even in their 90s and 100s. They never stop living their Ikigai. Reflect on this for your own life. Instead of asking, when can I stop working, ask, how can I keep contributing? Contribution is the antidote to stagnation. As long as you give, you grow. Let us not forget joy. Ikigai is not meant to feel heavy or burdensome. It is light, playful, and joyous. Laughter flows easily in Okinawa. Neighbors gather to sing, dance, and celebrate even in old age. Their joy is not dependent on wealth or possessions, but on connection and meaning. Joy is a vital sign of Ikigai. If your path feels lifeless, it may not be your true Ikigai. A real purpose energizes, uplifts, and sustains you. Even when challenges come, joy remains like an undercurrent. Gratitude is the companion of joy. Each day, take time to name the blessings around you, the people, opportunities, lessons, and even the struggles that shape you. Gratitude transforms what we have into enough. It shifts focus from what is missing to what is present. It deepens your relationship with life itself. Another principle woven into Ikigai is the art of presence. Too often we postpone living. We say, I will be happy when I get that job, that house, that recognition. But Ikigai teaches us to live now, to be fully present in each conversation, each meal, each breath. Life does not begin someday, it is happening this moment. And if you are not living now, when will you? Consider Hiroshi, a calligrapher in his 80s. Every morning he sits with brush and ink, carefully forming characters on paper. His strokes are slow, deliberate, and mindful. For him, each brushstroke is a meditation, a prayer, a moment of life captured. He does not think about fame or money. His Ikigai is in the act itself. In this way, Ikigai teaches us to find purpose not only in results but in process. You do not need to know the entire path to walk it. You only need to take the next step with sincerity. Over time, the steps create a journey, and the journey reveals your purpose. In essence, Ikigai asks us to live with intention, curiosity, resilience, and love. It calls us to embrace community, care for our health, honor simplicity, and stay connected to joy. It reminds us that meaning is not something far away. It is within reach in the way we live our days. As you listen to these words, pause and ask yourself, what is my Ikigai? Perhaps it is raising your children, writing your story, creating art, healing others, or building something meaningful. Perhaps it is a dream you have not yet dared to pursue. Whatever it is, know that it is waiting for you. The world needs your gift. Your soul needs your purpose. And your life deserves to be lived fully. One day, years from now, when you look back, may you not see a blur of busyness but a tapestry of meaning. May you remember the laughter, the love, the courage, and the contributions that defined your days. May you know deep in your heart that you lived with Ikigai. This is the secret of Okinawa. This is the wisdom of purpose. And this can be your life too. So, start today, with one small act, with one brave choice, with one step closer to what makes you feel alive. Your Ikigai is calling. Answer it with your whole heart.